All right. Today I am here with Diana Schaeffer, LCSW-S, and we are going to be talking about a blog post that she recently wrote. You mentioned that a triggered nervous system takes us back in time to when we didn't feel safe, even if our logical brain knows that we're okay.
hmm
Why is there such a massive disconnect between what we know and what we feel in those moments?
Well, I really think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that our emotional brain and our rational brain do not speak the same language. Emotional brain does not really deal in words. It deals in smells and sounds and images and all sorts of things, but not necessarily words. So those experiences get stored in our nervous system, and the rational brain really doesn't have any way. It's very hard for it to have any way into that, if that makes sense.
You shared a little bit about a story about a client who freezes when her partner raises his voice. When someone's in that shutdown state, what is the very first, smallest physical step they can take to thaw and to be able to feel present again?
Well, that the freeze state certainly is a signal that you need to, step away and start to regulate your nervous system a little bit. So, I mean, one thing that I think I had mentioned, some grounding techniques that are really easy. One is to just put your hand on your head, for example, and press down. Also, maybe taking a walk, doing something physically really does help you to reset. I think the other thing I had mentioned was like change in temperature. Although with a freeze response, you might want to put a heating blanket on you or, something warm or drink a cup of tea or something like that to help you reset.
So it sounds like part of it is paying attention to your body and what those needs are.
Exactly. Right.
Good. You often use movement in your practice, like throwing a pillow or balancing on one leg. Why is physical movement sometimes more effective than positive thinking when we're spiraling?
Well, as you know, I also teach exercise. So it's something that I truly believe in. But there's nothing better than to get you back into your body and out of your head than to do something physical. And so throwing a pillow, it's sort of a surprise, especially the first time. You have to catch this thing, you have to pay attention. And the same thing with like standing on one leg. You really cannot think about anything else when you're trying to balance. You really have to be physically and emotionally, you have to be present in order to be able to balance to help them.
You noted that what works one day might not work the next. How do you recommend clients build a menu of tools so that they don't feel like they've failed when a specific grounding exercise doesn't work?
So I know with my clients, I let them know that what may work one day may not work the next. And so I'll start off by asking them what things they've noticed help them really regulate their emotions. And we'll start making literally a list. I used to type it out on my card and hand it to them so they could put it in their pocket or in their purse and take it out when they needed it, because if you're emotionally dysregulated, you're not going to remember these things. So I might suggest that people do a voice memo in their phone, or, make a list in their phone of the different things that they've tried and add as they can, different things that might work for them.
All right. So now to my final question here. You mentioned a point about reframing triggers as internal protectors and how they try and keep us safe. How does changing our perspective from something's wrong with me to my body is trying to save me change the way that we heal?
I think it's huge. I think that it's making it not, this is not something that's wrong with me. This is something that's normal, and it is. I mean, we have internal protectors that are trying to remember where the danger is, right? And then so that we can protect ourselves. So those parts of us are very important. Oftentimes the problem is that they've learned to do their jobs when we were young, and they're not doing the job that we need them to do as we're older. They need to learn new tools.